What's going on, guys? I was freaking right. I was freaking right. I was right. And you know what? I was right. Yes! Yes! Name was slightly different, but I was freaking right. Alright, guys. So, if you saw it this morning, first thing I know, after last week, everyone was waiting for it. We finally got the reveal of the new 00 Gundam from Build Divers. And it wasn't exactly what we expected. By the way, spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it by now. I waited later in the day to make sure anybody had time to watch that. Obviously, if you clicked on this video, you knew what you were going to get into. Now, this is going to be, of course, a minor review slash news report on this. Catching up from last week, 00 Diver got his butt handed to it by the asteroid No Name and got beat up. So now it's time to rebuild and start anew. This whole episode, you get that coming together of everybody. How do we get to this new thing? How do we build a new Gunpla? Because he knew what he wanted to begin with. So he had to go back to the beginning, as they say. And he runs over their journey with meeting everybody anew, getting advice from everybody, even getting extra help from Shardiyar, even saying, "This is everything that was wrong with your Gundam. Fix it." I like that. I mean, it wasn't rude like that, but that's how it worked out. And I knew there was going to be that, and I knew that we were going to get a minor reveal. We weren't going to get to see it in action. But I liked the subtle reveal and teaser partway through the episode, where Riku took Sera to go check out the 00 Diver, and he said, "Maybe you can help me connect to it." He's like, "You seem to know its feelings." And he said, "Don't you too? You know, you're connected to it." And he's like, "Yeah, whenever I fought What's-His-Face, I could feel the 00 Diver, and I knew that it was responding to me, and I could feel the other guy's feelings." It was kind of a whole lot of conversation back and forth. We were covering over a whole lot of things. And he goes into this weird fever dream, I guess, being fed to him by the 00 Diver, and it shows him, "This is what I will be." And like, that's how we get the teaser images we got from last week. I really liked the way they worked that in there. It like showed him the new design that it wanted to become. I thought that was actually pretty cool. And so he rushes off to go make it. But that was pretty cool. And I like how he's like, "Well, I'm going to need everybody's help." And this, and you get the montage of how to build it, and on this, that, and the other. That was pretty cool. I like that. I like how, of course, straight up has the old HG Destiny kit on there, because he knew that he clearly recognized what part of it was. I like how you get to see them using the parts runner, spitter outer vending machine. Why don't we have that in real life? Presumably he has some 3D rendered parts and printed out stuff like that, same way he did with the Diver Ace. And we get the final reveal, and we get the name. It should be 00 Destiny, which would have been a much better name. But because Riku doesn't seem to be as adept at naming things as Iori was, throwing build in front of everything, he calls it the 00 Sky. Gets rid of Diver, calls it Sky. Remember, you guys are called Build Divers, right? Not the Build Skyers. But I think he went that route because in the dream it showed him definitely flying through. Not that the 00 couldn't fly, but I think that's a hint at something else it can do. And we'll talk about that when we get to the design of it. And of course, we actually get to see it standing there, like this. And it's pretty cool. It's got some design things that I don't necessarily like, but other than that, it's actually pretty neat. Oh, one thing. While they're doing the design montage, it shows his notebook with everything that he has drawn up, and he's trying to create the custom rifle for it. And tell me that doesn't look like a mix of the Lightning Gundam's sniper rifles with a hint of unicorns like ammo clip. I think that's actually really neat. One thing I love about this is it keeps the GN drives. Everybody was worried, okay, if he's going to go Destiny, how's he going to keep it at 00? He goes back to the big fat GN drives, and I think that's the huge ones you don't even use from the original kit, because they look so much larger. And you get the extra shoulder pauldrons, which I think those are going to be like the energy emitters for the wings. And you get these brand new shoulder bits that come across in kind of a weird like shape. I couldn't place where these things came from. It definitely reminds me of the Gray's Ritter. It definitely has that. And I'm sure somebody else in here is just going to jump out and say, no, it's from this. The other thing is, if you look at it like really closely, it actually is it's like they took the original winglets off of the 00 pods and cut it off and sewed on the part of the knee armor that he added for the Ace Diver. And Diver Ace, I should say. Now, the chest has been slightly modified, but if you look close, it is still very much the 00 Diver's chest. It's got a repaint on it. It's got some new yellow parts in there, but for the most part, it's the same, but a little bit different, including the big green window over the top that, to me, screams XX. Because normal X has it in the front, XX has it on top and the front. But the main thing is that's actually covering up, and this is how you know it's still mostly the original chest. It has the big gash that the Astray put across it, and he said he wanted to leave it there as a scar, as a reminder of where he's come from and the battles he's been through. You don't think that's going to possibly become a weakness later, or hey, that thing's going to light up because of particles shooting out through that crack? You can almost predict that one right there. Now, I'm not as big a fan of this color scheme. I don't like the excess blue going on there and like the way they shifted the red up. So the red's no longer around the bottom of the waist, it's up near the rib cage. I don't really like that color shift. It is a little bit of a callback to the Destiny, which I guess is where he was going with that. And looking at the images, you can see that the shoulder armor has changed. It's a little bit more like, I think it's probably a little bit more like the looks a little like the CeraV's shoulders, like the stock ones. They're a little bit more pointy. They're not as squared off as the old ones. They lose the handlebars, and I think that's just playing around with it. It's not the same as the regular 00 shoulders, which are just snubbed. The arms look fairly similar, like they didn't really modify the arms too much, but they're still there. But you get the cool gauntlets. We do see those. But oddly enough, they're not straight up off the Destiny, because you don't really see the beam shield emitters out of each side. Maybe it'll do that, maybe it won't. But it does have a hint of G Gundam to it. A little bit in there, like it almost looks like it's two claws and then maybe even a thumb hanging off the side. So maybe we're going to get a little bit of action with that. And you'd see in the new opening credits, which I actually really dig the new intro. I like the new music, and I like that it shows off new Gunpla, including this thing flying around. And we'll talk about that here in a minute, because we get a lot more cool stuff in that intro. The other design that has definitely changed is the head. It is a significant change to the old 00 head. Now, it is a callback to the same V-fin configuration and stuff like that. But to me, I think it looks a bit more like the Harut. It seems like it might have some, like a hint of maybe some XX to it. Maybe a little bit. With the way the Vulcans are. But the rest of it, the way it's layered and stuff like that, looks a bit like the Harut. And I'm sure there's other callbacks in there, and everybody else will probably pick out all the different things. Also has a little hint of age to it. And I'm thinking that he's borrowed some design cues from the AGE II. Maybe he borrowed some. That's where I think he might have some transforming capability in the future. One thing in particular is those same winglets I was talking about. And you can see it on the T's Gunpla picture we got. The only one T's Gunpla picture we got. It has the rotating hinge exactly like the AGE II does on the wings. I don't think that's on accident. The other important thing to note here is those weapons. Those weapons were the main thing that keyed me off to it being the Destiny. You have a big old rifle and a big old sword. And they do have some GN style flair to them. So they're definitely more 00 themed. But you actually see in the opening credits where he does whip it out, and it is an anti-ship sword. And you see him use the giant buster rifle. Just like that. And it's cool how they mount to the GN pods. Now, we got 2 official images. Most of what I've been talking about has been from the anime itself, screen clips. These are images released actually by Bandai. And they're not of the Gunpla, they're just of the Gundam itself. And you can see things a lot more in detail. So you can see a lot of the front shape and stuff like that, but the weapons on the back is really important because you can really see the sword, you can really see the giant, beam cannon, as it were. Now, gone are the GN swords, which sucks for me. I love the GN swords. You might still have the beam sabers hidden somewhere. Who knows? It might be in the gauntlets. We don't know. And he's clearly getting away from the close combat. And I wonder if that has something to do with the damage he's taken. He's going to go for fast movement, being able to get further away and use the longer range weapon. Now he still has the giant anti-ship sword, but it is what it is. Speaking of the opening credits, because this is where we get a lot more news, and of course, this is where I believe it was Super Kamehameha was looking into this list that revealed most of these things. What was that, on Sunday? And we get the first look of Yuki's potential new suit. And I say potential because the way he looks at it in the intro, he looks very reticent. But maybe he's upset that he's no longer using his Beammaster and he upgrades to the Jesta Kai, which must be his suit because, as we see here, is definitely orange. Now, to be fair, the Jesta Kai isn't entirely orange. It has quite a lot of red armor on it, and it's a very different head. But this thing is still going to be really cool. Can't wait for that kit. However, this is such a fast clip, it took me a second to get both shots. This thing, straight up, has some Gundam X satellite cannons. So twin satellite cannons over the shoulder like the double X, but it looks like he's only got the regular X wings or pods or reflective thingies, whatever you call them. That's going to be cool. Because the last time we saw anything from Gundam X, of course, it was the Gundam X Jumal was the last one, but of course the Crossbone X or the X Mao, stuff like that. That's the last time we really saw anything along those lines in a hero suit. So doing that to a Jesta, even though it's orange. But something about it, Yuki does seem very reticent. He seems almost scared of it. So I don't know if it's his. Maybe he's got an older brother who also does this. No idea. He doesn't look like it's his kit. Everybody else definitely seems to be tied to their thing. So we'll see what happens. It's still going to be pretty cool. The rest of the build divers don't seem to change up their suits at all, so we don't really get anything there. We do get a shot of the tilt rotor pack actually attached to the red beret. That's pretty cool, not gonna lie. And I think in the next, because in this, Rommel actually says he wants to fight against build divers. He wants to fight against the 00 and see what it can do. So I think we're gonna get that actual battle. I think it's gonna be pretty cool. Whether it's the next episode, we don't know, but sometime soon. And I definitely called that we weren't going to get a battle in this episode. Other things we saw. A new chick. She's in the intro. She doesn't have a Gunpla, and she's another cat girl. Green hair, stuff like that. That might be the mystery person we see at the end credits. That is looking for Sera. Talk about that in just a second. The other thing we get, and this blows my mind because I'm pretty sure I mentioned something about this when we first looked at it. We get a new version of the AGE II Magnum. And guess what colors it is? Special Forces White. Yeah. So the champion even upgrades his Magnum to the Special Forces White, even changes his own cloak to being white. So he's actually very much following what Asamu did. And I've said from the beginning, is like, he is totally like an Asamu character. He's got the blonde, he's got the blue eyes, he's just doing it, whatever. So That's really cool. And of course, we got the teaser Sunday from Super Kamehameha of the Champions Forces Impulse Gundams Red and Blue, and we get them both right here. We can get to see their combination sequence for their silhouettes. That's going to be pretty cool. I look forward to these kits. They have some interesting looks to them. I'm not going to dive too deep into it. See what I did there. But it does look like they're using some of the custom weapons we've gotten other option part sets. One using big rifle, another one using a big old spear. But they're also, and this is a cool thing, they are custom impulses with age influence for sure. They're basically like age 2 combined with impulse, from what I can tell. I dig that. I dig that a lot. Another awesome thing we saw in the intro is we're going to get new characters. We're going to get a new force that we're going to run into. And they have this ridiculous SD combiner. Now, this thing has already been revealed as a kit before, but with no context. So they showed us second half of the season kits already. Now, I saw this on BBTS. I don't know if it's available anywhere else. I'll get the name for it, and then we can talk about that. It's a combination of the RX-78, the new Gundam, the Sazabi, Zaku 2, and I don't know what the next one is, but it's orange. So maybe it's Kyrios or Arios, one of those. I don't know, but it's pretty cool. It's a combiner SD. Now I don't think the actual kit will completely do that, but it looks like it does at least have the separate parts. So that'll be pretty fun. That's one thing we haven't really gotten is a proper combiner in a Gundam series like this. We've got the Tryon, but that's a different story. As for the SERA thing, I think in this episode it was mildly revealed, or at least hinted at what SERA is. And because the game controller, I think is what his name is called, he was asking the champion about it. Is like, do they have a code where they're using something similar to a brake decal to make those particle wings happen, to neutralize this? And they're like, no, they would never use anything like that. They're good kids. And then he even says it must have been the self-defense program adjusting itself. So GBN has a built-in self-defense against things like that. But obviously with the brake decals running wild, it hasn't been doing its job, kind of. What if she is that self-defense mechanism? That's why she's built in. That's why she's kind of an AI. That's why she's keyed into Gunpla and communicating. We saw in the last episode, even talked about it in here, she communicated with Riku directly through his diver gear, because she could feel what was happening to the 00 diver. So she's truly keyed into it, especially because she's been bonding with them the way she is. So she's been riding with him. She rode with him during the big force attack. So it makes sense that she is this self-defense mechanism and bonding with the 00 diver Ace and putting out that power through her, through his will, and through the Gunpla to make that happen. So, and the mysterious person at the end, who doesn't seem like a bad person, sitting there watching all these control panels of every battle that they've been through, locates her, says 99% match, and said, there you are, or I think is what I said. But you see a little energy feather come down, the same way we've seen energy feathers come out of the 00 diver. So there's a combination, there's something there. So it's kind of like the Matrix, programs running wild, that kind of stuff. So now, as for kits, we've gotten a teaser, just a teaser image, at least as of right now. We've only got a teaser image of the 00 Sky, which once again, I think that's a stupid name. They could have done a little bit better. And we've only got one teaser image of it. We don't even have release info or anything like that. If I had to guess, it's probably going to be somewhere in the 2,300 yen range, maybe 2,800, depending on how much plastic there is. I bet it has to come with the wings of some sort, whether they're energy or not. We know the Sky High wings are coming eventually. To me, it doesn't look like the same thing, but then again, all we saw were prototype images. Now, we have seen other things that have been announced finally coming out in full color. So maybe when that comes out, we'll see that they're actually supposed to be clear energy wings. But the wings, those wings mount to a backpack or mount directly into the back of something. The wings coming out of the 00 Sky come out of the GN drives, just like it did. And that's what those shoulder pauldrons do. You can see that whenever he uses it in the teaser, they open and then all the GN particles come out. So it's a focusing mechanism just for that, almost like exhaust. Something like the Identity's wings, kind of. Very fancy. Very fancy, shiny exhaust. Guys, so this was a good episode. It was really good. I like the new development of the characters. I like that we can see a little bit where it's going. You can see new mysteries, stuff like that. So let me know what you think about the Sera theory now. Let me know what you think about the new stuff that's revealed in the intro. And personally, I like this music way better than the first intro. Maybe that's just me. We also got a new outro, which is really strange because everything is all bear guyed up, including the brand new badass Gundam. It looks really, really strange, all bear guyed up. And if you can point out some of the different bits on the new thing, the legs are significantly changed on the 00 Sky. The feet are still 00, but definitely modified. It's kind of hard to tell, but let me know if you see some of the same influences I do. Like some of the age influences, some of the seed influences. Did he just take some of the parts he already had, move them around and kit bash? Did he just repaint some things? And, you know, just let me know. And what do you think about his change up of the weaponry? Going to more long range and one big sword versus having tons of swords all over him. And do you miss the 00 chest as the crotch? Let me know in the description or in the comments down below. But guys, that's going to be it for this news video / review of that episode. And if you want to help out the channel, go ahead and check out patreon.com/ShokiReviews right here on the screen. Go over there, be like John, Andy, Steve, Kolby, and TheKrowSama, and help support the channel if you like what I do here. Speaking of which, hit that like button, that thumbs up thingy, and hit the subscribe button if you are new here. I think it's actually over here. I don't know. Reverse camera. But also, guys, if you want to pick up a Shoki shirt, you can totally do that right here. Description, or link is in the description down below. I have a couple new shirt ideas. I actually have an artist working right now on a new design that can go on a shirt, but it's actually for something else I want to do. But that's it, guys. So catch you on the next review or the next news video, whatever. And whenever we actually get video or photos of this, I will post it at least on my social media. Maybe not do a whole new video. But that's it, guys. I'll catch you next time. Remember, as always, keep on building.